A butterfly sits on the flower, and today's collective reading is going to give you a lot of clarity with how to deal with those people who do not value your efforts or who do not feel grateful for the love you have to offer to them, or you already shower them with all of that love. A big hello and a warm welcome to all of you amazing and beautiful people out there. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this collective reading. Before I dive deep into this reading along with you all, I would like to tell you that you can become my Patreons and support this lovely content that I make every day. I must tell you, to take out time for this type of content is not easy because I do active mission work, so taking out time for everyone is sometimes not possible. But a lot of people write to me. As soon as I go missing, people write to me, and I have realized that some of the people have sent me emails and some of the people have sent me support saying that this content has helped them a lot over the past few years and they've grown immensely, and this is something that they've done on their own. Sometimes their messages and their support has also given me motivation to keep going ahead. There have been days when I used to feel that maybe this is not benefiting anyone. People just see it like some random other YouTuber saying things. But some of the people have shown that love to me and they've expressed gratitude. If I go missing, they keep pulling me back. So I am also extremely thankful to those people. Now let me tell you, when I started this channel, it was for two reasons. One, to create a platform for those people who are on the same frequency and same vibration so that they know where to go when they need to go somewhere, to someone. In order to create a platform where people can shed real tears, whether they are tears of joy or they are tears of sadness, of pain, they have to be real. When people cry actual genuine tears, that's when therapy starts working like magic. And of course, second reason is to help those people who cannot afford therapies or personal session, because I know that a lot of people in this journey, especially if you are twin flame, hear me out on this, you cannot dabble into things when you're not ready. Twin flames are designed in such a way that DNA is so high frequency. I've personally seen it that when they get into something, they want to get fully into it. They cannot do odd jobs, they cannot do pleasing other people, they cannot be like, okay, I will be unhappy, I will be miserable, I will be sad, but I will also do this for materialistic growth and requirements. For most twin flames, it is imperative that they need to feel valued and motivated to do some things for those people who really need them. At first, they only do for their own people, the blood relationships, family members. But once they start figuring things out, their ascensions start taking place better, like it is propelled higher, the rocket launch has happened. Then they realize that there are so many other people who need them. So many people need their presence and the world can become a better place. Most of these people turn into animal parents. They start feeding and rescuing animals, which is a very big requirement on this planet right now, one of the biggest pace that needs work. Or they start working with nature. They will start cleaning rivers. They will start cleaning places. They are the people who like to clean up places, whether it is energetically, whether it is physically. And then they will create some opportunities, they can create jobs, they can create energy fields, they can open up portals, they can do wonderful things for the world. Twin flames are really high vibrational. Then there are starseed twin flames. Then there are angelics who are here to support them. Angelics are the fresh lot, the younger people who have lots of gifts, but their parenting is also very warped. They might have loving parents, but they need someone like twin flames to be around them, because twin flames have the right mix of discipline and emotional and logical support. Because twin flames don't go like, oh, my baby, my poor child, let me pamper you, let me over pamper you. The angelics don't like that either. But angelics also are stubborn because they have been raised in such a way that they also don't understand things that easily. When they are in the presence of a twin flame, the twin flame will let them be free. Okay, you do whatever you want to do. Once you learn the lesson, figure it out, then you can come back again to me. But when you come back to me, it should not be that late that the window of opportunity is closed and given to someone else. Some of the angelics are very smart, they understand this. they figure it out, but some don't, but then they have another cycle and another level of work to do. Because this narcissism, today we are also going to talk about how these narcissistic people are going to be removed from your timeline. They can be, but some of these angelics and empaths and even twin flames, starseed twin flames, they are so attached with the narcissistics that they become the narcissistics, which is why they develop a split personality. Half of them is an empath, it's an empathetic, kind-hearted person who wants to do a lot for the world, but half of them is still a cold-blooded narcissist, which is a quality or multiple qualities handed over to them by their parents or the adults who took care of them. It's only with time that they learn to recognize this. And how they recognize this is first by creating boundaries in the outside world. When they, or when you, whosoever resonates with this part especially, when you realize that you have to create boundaries with other people who don't honor your presence, who don't love you the way they should love you, or people who drag you down. There are so many people around who are very negative. Their focus is always on negative. They are always playing some mind game with others. They are so unhappy and miserable, but they don't want to change it because they are also in a comfort zone. So when the person who's in healing stage, who has to battle with the narcissistic energy which has gotten into their own DNA, seeped into their own DNA, it's so hard to remove, and there is an empath within them which is fighting against all of this. So when they fight with those who are outside in the external reality, which is also actually happening internally only, there's a battle, internal battle going on, which is seen as a hologram outside. So when they do that, then they start looking at their own narcissistic flaws and they are like, okay, this part of me or this self of me raises its head every time I want to do something good. So for example, they want to go out and help somebody, or they want to go out and become a part of a big project where they know there is genuine work going on. But as soon as they try to do it, or as soon as they even try to do what they love, what they really feel like doing, which is like a true calling, that side of them starts popping up. It's like a negative voice in the head that will tell them you're not good enough, don't do this, you're gonna fail miserably, come on, this is not your thing, you gotta go and earn some money, you're gonna live a better life than this, why are you wasting your time, this is stupid. Then they realize that they need to make a boundary with this self also. They need to tell that self that, look darling, you need to take rest and you need to go away. And this is like working with your own mind, telling your own mind that you are not needed right now, you please go and do something better, something conducive and productive. I hope you have been relating with all of this that I'm talking about, because if you are high vibrational, then you want to work on yourselves, and these type of tips you'll not get anywhere else. Because I have been noticing that many YouTubers who are also energy healers or content creators, they are enabling people by just praising them all the time. Okay, praise is something which is very scary, because in praise lives the devil. Too much praising is not good, too much buttering is not good, and I know you don't like it either. So I'm gonna give you the right mix of truth serum, where you need to be appreciated and acknowledged, but at the places, at the areas where you need work to be done, even those will also be given to you, shown to you. In today's collective reading, the most important message is that you don't want to do anything for those who are full of superiority complex, who don't value the time you give to them. Okay, because no one else will give them the time and attention and love, forgiveness and even tolerance, patience, the way you have given it to them. Nobody will give it, nobody. But they don't understand it, they don't realize it. They are so full of themselves, they have so much superiority complex, they don't want to surrender, they don't want to bend, they just want to be in their full bloom, full blast ego. Ego is telling them everything, and they are dancing to the tunes of the ego. So these are the people who are thankless narcissists, who act like they are a gift to mankind. It's good to be the gift to humankind. It's good to feel like that, God's gift to humanity. You should feel like that if you're doing something in life. If you're not doing anything, no service, no inner work, no kindness, nothing. Sitting like a person who is just so good, so perfect, then what's the point of giving that label? So these people you have recognized, you have identified, they don't serve anyone, they just serve their ego all the time. They cannot tolerate anything. They'll come to you for help, because a lot of you also attract people who want to talk to you, who want to share their problems with you, who say that give me some solution, you're my friend, you're my confidante, I believe you, I trust you, you're so positive, I want to be positive, I'm not positive like you. Then they sit with you, you tell them, okay, if you want to be positive, then you do this. If you want to be positive, then don't be like this. Some of these people don't want to let go of their bad habits. Bad habits like eating bad food, eating meat especially, drinking alcohol, taking drugs. Some of these people cannot live without drugs. They need drugs every day, or they need regularly, or they need alcohol, or they need some kind of meat. Even if you tell them that meat has trauma, so much trauma, as long as you're getting good healthy food. I'm not saying become a vegan. I'm saying, okay, you can have milk or curd, but you have to check where it's coming from, the source of it. Or then you need to do so much inner work, so much solar plexus chanting every day, a certain stipulated number you have to do every day, or you have to sit in meditation twice a day, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes in the evening. I'm not even giving you big number, I'm giving you very small number. As soon as you wake up, 15-20 minutes, just sit still, do your meditation, and in the evening again sit still. Throughout the day you can do your work, you can do mental jap also, you can do mental remembrance of God also, right? Even those people who are Christians and who follow Jesus, who love Jesus, I'm going to tell you, really, Jesus is one of a wonderful people that we have read about. The actual religion or the actual spirituality that he taught was called Gnostics. So if you can study more about Gnostics, it would be really, really nice. Plus, if you read the Bible, even in the Bible, they speak a lot about the pineal gland, about meditation, about how God is the light that comes from here. God is right here. So they have spoken about it. They call this place to be the temple. So if this is your temple and this is where God sits, this is where exactly God sits, temple, God, third eye, Ajna Chakra, we call in Hindi Ajna Chakra, also Gyan Chakra, which is chakra for knowledge, real wisdom. So if you do these activities, only then you can change. But people don't want to do these activities. People don't want to do service. There are 5 things, and I'm not going to go into that right now, but there are 5 things that are very, very important in this ascension journey. And very quickly I will tell you: Simran, Seva, Satsangati, without Satsangati, which is good company. Seva is service. Simran is continuous remembrance of God. Satsangati is good company of strong people, positive people. Service people, service, I mean service to God, okay? People who do service to God, people who don't act like they're doers. If people are acting like doers, that means they are in ego, and mostly such people will only do materialistic things. They will never give out their money or their earnings to other people for good tasks. They'll keep collecting it, saving it, and they'll keep wasting it in useless things which will not lead to anything. 4th is Samarpan, which is surrender. Of course, without surrender, nothing can happen. And Sadachar, which is doing good deeds, which I spoke about just now. So these 5 pillars are very, very important. These are the 5 heads that's needed. Now, most of the people who are in the ascension journey, I'm talking about people who are actually in the ascension journey, the 1,44,000 spiritual warriors. I hope some of you are present in this collective reading and you are listening. It's not an easy journey, it's a difficult path, but it is rewarding. From time to time you feel the rewards. From time to time you get the clarity. From time to time you get into the trance. And that trance is very powerful trance, you know. You have the visions, you have the dreams, you have the tears that heal you. When you cry, you feel that God is with you at that point in time. These are real tears. Sometimes they are tears of joy and sometimes they are tears of pain. And there are so many lessons. The lessons keep coming in with challenges. Every challenge brings in lessons. Okay. So you don't want to waste your time and energy on thankless narcissistic people. because they just waste time. They don't do anything. They'll waste your time. They will say big things, make big commitments. I will do this, I will do that. But they do nothing. They will give you time. They will give you like ideas, but they will not do anything. Okay? And let me tell you, when you're dealing with these type of people, it is a challenging situation, because no matter what you do for them, no matter how much love you give, patience you give, forgiveness which no one else will give to them, it obviously becomes tough when people don't appreciate your efforts and the kindness you show to them. But then you also learn a lesson from them. Like for example, in my work also, in my life also, I won't say work because it's all life, it's all play and gift of God. I've realized that when I do for voiceless beings anything, they appreciate it a lot more. When I do it for underprivileged kids, anything, even if I spend 1 hour with them, even if sometimes I scold them that, hey, comb your hair, oil your hair, or sit properly, do not talk. When I explain things to them, they will still smile and they will, hug and they will love. Every time they say goodbye, at the end of the class, they are like, goodbye, ma'am, goodbye, ma'am. They say it like 15 times. And when they see you, they're so happy. When you see them, they're so happy. Why? Because they have a lot of appreciation. But when you do it for privileged human beings who think that money is their power, and with money they can do whatever they want, money or with looks, some people do it with beauty. They feel with their beauty they can seduce anyone. Now they are god of sexuality or sex. I don't know what they think, Adonis. So you don't want to do anything with such people. And when you set boundaries, when you prioritize your own well-being, and yeah, I would also like to include those students who are really into inner work. They do inner work a lot. They don't come up to me and tell me, and now I don't want to do this, now I don't want to do that. They are always, yes, I am ready to do this. I want to do this because it helps me. And those are the people who have actually grown a lot. They've grown immensely. And those are the people, even when they're not in therapy, I am in constant touch with them. They give me all updates of their lives, every single update. These are the people I feel they can, sometimes come to India, they can stay here, they can even volunteer if God permits, God allows. There are also some volunteers here also who come over. I'm adding my little bit of my personal touch also over here, so that you can understand that this happens with all of us. It is not something that is happening only with you. Sometimes people feel that, oh my God, this is happening only with me. But no, it happens to all people in Ascension, because they need to learn how to create healthy boundaries. If you are not going to create healthy boundaries outside, you will not be able to create a healthy boundary with the voice inside. That is going to tell you that you cannot do this, you cannot do that, you are not worthy enough for love, and you're this and you're that, and you got to go to that person and suck up to them and their bad behavior. No, you cannot do that, okay? So setting boundaries and prioritizing your own well-being is very necessary when you're dealing with such thankless and time-wasting individuals. Time is very important. You rather give it to God. You rather give it to doing God's work. These are the only two things that actually you're here for as a volunteer, and that's the only way you can raise the frequency of this planet. Pleasure seeking cannot help. Pleasure seeking is a loop, and you gotta become the loop breaker. You gotta become the one who can clear and cleanse their karma. You deserve to be valued and you deserve to be respected for your time and efforts, but you'll only get that respect when you learn to create boundaries. Okay, fine, if it's your job. For example, some of you could be in a job where you have to deal with such people. Then too, do not get emotionally attached with those people. If those people don't want to do the right things, then don't even give them advice. If they think they know it all, if they think that yeah, they are very intelligent, and they start advising you only, they start lecturing you only, first they come to you for help. And I'll tell you, this is a very systematic psychological behavior. First, they will do a lot of love bombing. Like the first phase is all about how much they appreciate you, how much they love you, how much they want you, how much they crave your presence, how much they think you are so important. They will say lots of things to you. They will show you immense amount of respect and appreciation and encouragement and support and whatnot. And my dear lovely people, this is the reason why I tell all of you, do not get too happy when people appreciate you. I'm talking about verbal appreciation, because there is another type of appreciation which is very energetic, which is very intimate. What is intimate appreciation or acknowledgement? That they hear you, they listen to you, they are there for you in a real sense. And even for any normal, ordinary human being, it is not possible to be present all the time. But people are energetically present. You know that. I'm sure you have experienced. When you meet a nice person, when a loving person meets you, or a selfless person meets you, you feel their presence. You feel what they've done, what they do, and things like that, right? But again, everyone cannot please everyone, okay? If you're not able to be that presence in someone's life, it's okay. It's all right. You don't have to everywhere. You're a human being. You are here on earth experiencing a human life, which is also very precious. It becomes more valuable even by you when you also start putting your time, energy, and efforts into things that matter, into the right things. For example, you meet someone who loves to gossip, who loves to talk. You are not a gossiper. You are not someone who is unnecessarily going to speak negative about anyone. You cannot even pretend to be like happy in front of someone, or very excited when you see someone otherwise you feel is a negative person, or otherwise you feel like they're not doing the right thing. So with the ascensioners, they're also very real. If they sense negativity or unnecessarily bullying or nosing or unnecessary, just trying to be over smart, trying to trigger people unnecessarily. There are some people who will trigger others. Like there's one lady I know, whenever she would meet another younger person, she would ask those people, when are you gonna get married? When are you gonna get babies? Your age is, going away. The clock is ticking. Something or the other. And if she meets someone who's already married, then she will say, when will you have babies? When are you going to have children? If she meets someone who has children, then she will ask them questions about children that will be in a negative sense, like how will you raise these people? When will you send them to school? What job will they do? Have you thought about their career? Basically, that lady is unhappy herself. So whosoever she meets, she will say all of these things. And right after this, or even before this, she will speak about how bad her life is just because she got married, she has children, or she has to do this or she has to do that. It's like, come on, you just said that you're unhappy in your life, you're unhappy with your decisions, and now you want another person to make the same decisions. Why? So I think I have already spoken about this toxic energy which is present everywhere. It would not be fair to say that it's only in ladies. It's definitely in men also. Men do it in a different way, women do it in a different way, but they both do it. And it's also in youngers, teenagers. Sometimes there are some teens who can come up to you and tell you things about your age, about your money, earnings, things like that. They can put those questions. But this collective reading is not about blaming them also or entangling in their energy. This collective reading is more about, okay, fine, they exist. They have their own baggage. They have their own negative energy. Probably you don't even need to pity them. Like, you just need to let them be in their own state. If you really feel bad for them, for some people, you can pray for them. But I feel sometimes people don't deserve even that, some of the people, And this is where I would like to say that you need to recognize the right people. And that recognition will automatically start happening when you don't entangle in negative conversations, negative gossip, oversharing. So when you meet these gossipers, a good person who cannot gossip, who cannot make up stories, starts oversharing. Because it's a habit pattern, or you can say it's a generational thing that has been passed on from one generation to another, to another, to another. That whenever two people meet, they have to unnecessarily talk on random things, on useless things. But what if you are a part of a mission? What if you are a part of a noble cause? What if you are a part of some great inner work? Then you are going to only talk about things that really uplift you both. Like I have this friend, she goes to the same spiritual center, and we never talk about our lives. We never say, how's everyone, how's everybody, We only talk about how much did you chant, or were you able to do it, or how are you feeling, in the sense, how's your inner work going, all fine, okay, great. Or she will send me some beautiful quotes and very good articles, really uplifting articles. Or we are going to talk about things that societally bring other people down and us also down, like for example the demands of the society. We're going to talk about that to each other in such a way that both of us feel empowered and energized. I've noticed that they are so much valuable, they add so much value to every place. Not just when I meet them, I feel that they are valuable everywhere. Such people are valuable everywhere. So you will value these people when you value that aspect of yourself who is like that as well. We all have many selves. When people talk about multiple personality disorder, when I was really, really young, when I first time heard this term, I was very intrigued by it. So I just spoke to my angels, my guides, and I asked them. My guides have been communicating with me since childhood. At that time, obviously, I did not know they were guides. I just would toss a question and the answer would come to me. So I asked them, what is this multiple personality disorder? The answer given to me was, well, you would be surprised to know that there is also a multiple personality order. So people who are suffering from disorder or split personality disorder are those people who cannot control these personalities. These personalities act on their own. A thought will be thrown and a happy-go-lucky person will be worked up. Similarly, these multiple personalities, they just keep popping in and out. Of course, some people, even some serial killers have misused this term. They have said that I did not do it, the other personality did it. People are aware about it, but they just don't know how to control it. They just don't know how to tame it. And those people who are in ascension, they can, because of the help of meditation, because they know this is the temple. The temples are right here. The temple is right here. God is right here. Source. We use the term source, not even God. Because God is also an energy. Source is the highest energy. Supreme is the highest energy. Masters and source is the highest energy. So source and masters, you can talk to them via your pineal gland. The people who know that will practice enough every single day, and they will be able to tame that aspect of them which is doing the dance of ego, which is always creating misery around. And ego is not always an arrogant person like Hitler. Ego can be a very soft, very covert kind of a person who's always seeking sympathy, that can also be. Now, what is the difference between right and wrong? If you have reached till this point, then I want you all to mark yourself present along with the location. Also claim this energy of being present. Being present is so important because presence is a gift, and it's the only place where the ego cannot anchor itself. The ego can only be anchored in the past or in the future, which is why ego loves to make people feel worried about what's going to happen or what has already happened. So in this collective reading, there are two main messages. One is that you need to stop giving time to people who display not only self-sabotaging behavior, but they also sabotage other people's ships and boats along with theirs. And people who are not going to do anything, maybe they have the potential, maybe they can, but because they are always trying to get praise, and they just like to hear things from you about them, about the physical identity. Because as I was saying, that how to know what is right and what is wrong, how to figure that out. People who are in ascension, star seeds, light workers, twin flames, their goal is to do things that come from their soul consciousness, things that come from their inspired action domain, spontaneous action, inspired action, true action, real action, which is also very selfless in nature, which we call Nishkam in Hindi, Nishkam Bhav, selfless act. Whereas typically narcissists should be known as people who are extremely materialistically inclined. Everything they do is for here, for this world, not here present, but this validation society, to get the social validation, the societal yes man kind of thing they want from everyone. All of their endeavors, most of their endeavors, 99% are materialistically inspired. It's not selfless action, it's not nishkam. It is full of desire, it is full of kamna, it is full of trishna. Okay, so they are the people I am talking about today, that you don't need to waste your time. I'm not saying they are good or bad also. Maybe some of them are really good. Some of the narcissists can be better than the empaths in certain situations, because they are good in resource generation only if they have the same mindset as you have. If they say, I value what you do, I love what you do, and I also like to do this, but I'm also kind of driven to do this alongside and do that alongside. I cannot give you my full 100% physical commitment, but I can serve you in this way. But then you'll figure out their habits would be much better. 50% their empath side will work really well, and even for them you have to create a boundary, because they can be good resource generator, but they'll also seek a lot of attention from you from time to time, the type of attention that you do not give, you cannot give. Which is why I always tell people who are in this field, I tell people that God is your giver. No human being can give you anything. Human beings can be mediums for you. They can be good mediums, especially if they want to clear their karma, because putting your energy, time, money, effort, attention into good things, into selfless causes, also heals your karma, also kills the karma. The only solution to kill karma is to do selfless action. As soon as the selfless action without any doership starts happening, that's when the karma starts getting released and uprooted from the source, from the soil, how you uproot something, right? Same way. So this is where I'm gonna close this channeling session. Thank you so much for being here with me. I will see you in the next one. You can also get my book, In the Name of Love, A Journey of Finding Your Ultimate Soulmate, which happened because of divine and spiritual interventions. It was literally auto writing only, channeling. Back then I did not know what is auto writing or what is channeling. When I did it, then I figured it out. Okay, this is what I was doing. And yes, I'm very grateful to you. I'm very grateful to all of those people who are subscribers here, who give time to inner work. Whether you give time to me or not doesn't matter, but you must give time to your inner work. You must spend time with source. You must talk to source, and then source will bring people to you, the right people to you, the right mediums to you, and you can do your service, the reason why you're here on this planet. One love, peace out, and victory to Ram. Victory to Ram. Victory to Ram. Some of you people would say that how about conquering people's hearts with love? Like, why can't we give them lots and lots and lots of love, and then they will heal and they will figure out how to value our time? Let me tell you, love is not a very typical thing, it's very abstract. Sometimes showing people your boundaries is also part of loving them. Sometimes being disciplined with them or making them understand the value of certain things is also showing love to them. So many people actually turn their own children, they enable their children to become narcissists, is because they give them too much. Giving excessive love or materialistic love is also not love. How we understand love or how we see love is actually lust. It's a very low frequency love that people are programmed to believe in. So true love is not typical. True love, unconditional love is not how most people see it. You have to create a space for yourself and for others so that those others can also grow and flourish. And true love is also about detachment and going into your own independent space, becoming independent people. You let a person become independent. There is no codependency. That is also your way of loving them, because you're not loving just the body, you're loving them as a soul. You are actually inspiring them to love themselves, the eternal part of them, not this temporary part of them which is full of misery and suffering.